My name is Jeffrey St Laurent, and this is the Tuesday live show coming at you each and every week live from my Facebook fan page at 12:05. Today, we have a great topic of how to use social media to get paid. So we're going to kind of really talk about kind of maybe even myths, if you will, but kind of like the truths about what I've learned of how to utilize that and how to turn that into paying clients. And I'm going to walk you through some steps, give you some things and some strategies, if you will, and also more importantly, expectations. So you can actually be successful in this wide world of social media, which can sometimes be confusing and very often overwhelming if you don't have a strategy, especially with a plan. So before we get started with that, I do record all of these live shows. I put them in my university on my website, sellingcoaching.com. So please check that out. It's got a great resource there for you. Use the search feature. I've got well over 130 of these detailed specific shows and calls I've done, plus another good 50 or more smaller, shorter videos. So there's a lot of great content in there. And right on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com, I have a great resource. It's an audio and PDF resource that goes along with it called the Ultimate Startup Guide for New Coaches. So please check that out when you enter your name and email. Not only will you get a copy of that, but you'll also get onto my email community, and that's vital for you to start to stay in communication with me. I communicate with you each and every week, multiple times a week. And also I want you to start to understand how I stay in touch with my audience. Is something that when you work with me as your mentor coach, if that's something that you ever consider, I am available for that. One of the things that I teach you as I help you structure your business and help you transition to a full-time business. So if that is a consideration of yours, if you need that structure, whether you're frustrated, you've been doing it for a while, or you need to really push yourself and go to that next level, wherever you're at, you need that structure and you need someone to fill in those missing pieces, I'm available for that one-on-one mentor coaching. You can simply go to my website, sellingcoaching.com, under the Work With Me page, scroll to the bottom, and then fill out that form, and then I will reach out to you and we can create a relaxed conversation and go from there. We're going to jump right into the topic today, and that is how to use social media to get paid. Now, social media is, what can I say? It's the world's literally at your fingertips, right? You've got billions of people. You've got multiple platforms, all different modes of communication, from, pictures on Instagram to videos and different ways you can communicate on Twitter with a certain number of characters, Facebook where you can pretty much do anything and everything with video and audio or whatever you want, LinkedIn tailoring maybe more towards the professional person, etc., with articles. And I mean, there's just so many different platforms, but also there's different people on different platforms and different ways to communicate on the different platforms. So it's kind of like, where do I go? What do I do? I didn't even mention YouTube and there's a whole bunch more. So it can get overwhelming really quickly. And so what I want to do is help you start to narrow it down, because it is a very viable resource for you. And some people get overwhelmed as I work with my mentoring clients, and even as I talk with coaches, but especially as I start to work with people, one of the first things I'll ask them is starting to get to understand, how do you see your business? So how do you see your business in terms of how you're going to marketing your business? And interestingly enough, when I ask that question to a new coach that I'm mentoring, I'll often get the answer of more of how I want to service my clients, meaning, oh, I want to, coach with them on the phone. I see myself doing some group coaching or whatever it is that they see and how they service them. But what I'm asking is how do you foresee yourself marketing your business? And in terms of marketing your business, that means, how do you see yourself getting your message out there to the world, to your audience? It's actually not to the world, it's to your specific audience, who are people in the world, hopefully a specific population, which we'll get into in a second. But how do you see yourself getting your message out to those people? And there's really two different avenues. There's one avenue, which is the face-to-face avenue. That's maybe more networking events. It's live face-to-face events, things like that. Or I'll call it, in person or offline. And then there's the other avenue, which is online or virtual. And that is basically, it's using Google, it's using all the social media platforms, it's using any forums or things like that where people are joined in, or you can connect to them, but it's all from a virtual space. Now, I've created a successful coaching business using both avenues since I've been doing this since full-time since 2004. So the first 10 plus years of my business, I did that literally just face-to-face, live events, things like that. Didn't do anything online. The only thing I did online, technically, I guess you could say, would be I did email, but I don't consider that online. Email is a prerequisite to your business that you need no matter what you want to do. So let's leave email out for a second. So I did 100% face-to-face or offline with networking events, seminars, etc. And then the last 4+ years of my business, I've been doing 100% offline, meaning I've done nothing face-to-face. It's just basically just social media, and mainly for the longest time when I started, it was just Facebook, using YouTube as a medium to publish videos, etc. And now I've expanded my network into a bunch of different areas and different platforms as well. And I'll explain that in a second. But the point is there's two different models. So you've got to understand where I want to go. Now, I'm bringing this to you in a message because when we're deciding on a social media platform, you've got to decide is if, number one, do I want to do that from a form of marketing? And the reason I would encourage you to do that and not, even if you want to go face-to-face, I would encourage, and let's say you want to go face-to-face marketing and you hate social media, right? I'm just painting this picture for you because I've had plenty of clients that like, oh, I hate online, I hate techie stuff, I hate social media, I hate anything internet like that person there, right? And they're like, I just want to do it, face-to-face. The only reason I'd still recommend you utilize social media is if the audience you're going after, as I like to say with your headline, helping those who, and with what you're helping those people with specifically, like that specific outcome you're helping them with them, if that's defined so well and so specific, and it's very easy to find that population or get in front of that population online in a social media platform like a YouTube or something like that, or Facebook, like a group or something like that, then I would urge you to do something online. It doesn't have to be your primary mode of communication. It would be silly for you not to do that, because if you can get in front of those people very easily, the name of our game in terms of marketing is how many people can you expose yourself to on a daily basis, right? I need to get in front of as many people as possible. Me meaning myself live like this or my recorded message. So if I'm doing that either platform or both platforms, I need to find out, well, where are these people? Which leads me to the number one thing you need to do before you decide on a social media platform or even a marketing model of which one is the strongest, on or offline, etc., is determine your audience. Who are you going after specifically, and what are you specifically helping them with, that final outcome? Now, this is, I would say, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, that is the same thing, the biggest challenges that coaches will go through as they begin their business. People call it their niche. And it's like, oh my God, but I want to serve the world. I want to serve everybody. And you can't serve everybody. And you're not going to be effective doing that. Yet, it's challenging, or can feel challenging, to kind of narrow that down to a population, moms or dads, or people going through feeling a certain way, healthcare professionals feeling burnt out, like that's very specific. But sometimes, like even some of my clients, like one of my clients, she's a nurse, and we started off with nurses feeling burnt out, nurses who have, their jobs taken over their life, etc., and their life doesn't have any purpose or meaning anymore. And even though that person was a nurse, it felt so, oh my God, but what about other people, right? So we went to healthcare professionals, we broadened it a little bit, and it was okay because he was doing more face-to-face versus virtual. But either way, you really want to narrow that down, because the value of narrowing it down, I'm not going to go into this in depth because that's not what this is about, but this really determines our marketing. That's why when I mentor with my coaches, when you hire me as your mentor coach, I'm going to spend some time on this with you in the beginning, and I know I'm going to help you decide on who with what specifically, because I'm very great at doing that. But the reason is that's going to set the tone for the rest of your business in terms of where we do our marketing, how we do our marketing, how we start to shape our message. And if we can't get super narrow, that's okay. And if you don't even really want to get super narrow, I'll guide you to that area. But some people still want to stay a little bit more broad. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to force you to do anything. But either way, as we start to get to there, that's going to start to dictate the avenue we go down. Like I said, if we really define it well and we can find those people online very specifically and very easily, and even more so if we can target them, that's going to get into my segment in just a few minutes, we could potentially even do paid advertising more effectively to them. But for right now, in terms of choosing the route, in terms of offline or online, understand who do I work with and what do I help them with specifically, right? So as I do that, then I can start to determine which, if and or both avenues I can go down, because you can work both avenues. You can do face-to-face and you can do online and virtual as well. So now it's just going to help you better narrow down where you're going to start to put that message. But either way, once you've identified that, let's just focus on social media now, is now my recommendation is on social media, when you're starting off, and I would say this in your first 18 to 24 months, that's, almost a year and a half to 2 years, I'm going to say focus on one social platform. One social platform. So in other words, if you're dealing with a population, let's say moms as an example, right? Maybe middle-aged moms, and I hate to say I'm middle-aged. No, I'm not a middle-aged mom, but I'm middle-aged right now. I'm 42, right? So at the end of the day, we're middle-aged, right? So if you're dealing with that demographic, middle-aged moms with, let's say, teenagers or, around that area, they're going to be on Facebook. Like, that's a Facebook market, right? If you're dealing with, let's say, a younger generation, millennials, let's say, dealing with workforce, things like that, anything more professional, we're definitely going to get to LinkedIn. There might even be some better platforms now for the workforce that's not LinkedIn, because I'd say that's more of a middle-aged group at this point anyways, but that's more of a professional network, career-based, things like that. Doesn't mean you can't use it for other things, but that's where I would gravitate you towards if you're leaning toward that. A younger population, Instagram. It's also how you portray your message in terms of, be more video-based. I want to be more image-based, right? So we want to choose one platform and we want to stick with it. And the reason why I say one platform is because we have so many different options and there's so many different ways of communicating. And even though there's automatic ways to push something out to multiple platforms, and I'm not saying you can't do that, and even if you do that, I'd still focusing on one platform that you really interact with people on. And that's what I'm going to get into a little bit later, is the interaction is where that's how we get paid from that. So let me be patient. Let me get to that point, because this is all about not only using social media, but how do we get paid from it. But these are the vital steps to help get you there. So now, okay, where's my demographic? Where can I most easily find them? What's that one social network that I can actually really hammer? And not only do I hammer it and focus on it so we're not overwhelmed on what we can do, but we also want to learn that platform, right? Learning LinkedIn, learning Facebook. It's not like, oh my God, it's so difficult, to learn it, but there are definitely subtleties of each one, and there's definitely ways and techniques of understanding the platform in terms of how it works. It's not rocket science, but it's definitely stuff you've got to study up on and start to understand. And not only that and this is what I help my clients with, is as we start doing this and as you start mentoring and putting your stuff on there, it's like, well, what's happening? What are you seeing? What are you seeing as results of your marketing? If you're on Facebook as an example, when people come into my private Facebook group and I interact with them, where are they coming from? Every single person that comes into my private Facebook group I interact with. This is what I teach my mentoring clients to do. And I say, hey, I'm curious, what was your motivation for joining and how did you find out about me? And people answer those questions, believe it or not, and they find me on there. They're doing Facebook search. Oh, I heard about you from X school. I heard about you from this, or this person told me about you, right? So now I start to understand what's happening. Is it referral based? Is it this work I'm doing from LinkedIn? Is this work I'm doing on Facebook, or I'm doing with my live shows? So I want to start to understand where my marketing efforts are paying off. And then people that end up hiring or any interaction with people, I want to find out where are they finding me? How are they finding me? That's understanding our marketing efforts. So we start to understand our marketing efforts, and that's another way of understanding how you can utilize the platform and then what's working within that platform in terms of getting you leads and growing your audience, number one, and then ultimately getting paid. Where are my clients coming from? So now that's why I want you to focus on one platform so you understand it, and also you can hammer it. And just like, how many billions of people are on Facebook, right? How many millions of people are on each individual social network, right? It's ridiculous. Like, so are you missing out on anybody? No. If you know your population's there and you define them well, then stick on that, understand it, and blow it up. And then after that 18 to 24 months, not only will you understand that platform very well, you'll also understand what marketing efforts have worked or haven't worked from that platform. If you are setting up and doing weekly events like I structure with my clients, with my mentoring clients, I help them all set up a weekly structure with weekly emails, weekly events just like this. I walk what I do, walk my talk, so to speak. And then also social media platform of how do we get that information out on a structure to get it out to social media, right? But after you've done that, now you've not only, you understand the platform, you understand what's working, what's not working, but also now you also have, let's just say 18 to 24 months times 4 worth of content in terms of articles, videos, posts, shows like this. So now you can start repurposing that material. You start and now expanding it out on other platforms, which I'm doing now. You've seen maybe if you follow me for a little while, you've seen my Selling Coaching Minute. It's a podcast I do. It's on iTunes. It's an Alexa flash briefing. It's on Facebook. It's on LinkedIn. It's on YouTube. It's pushed out to, I don't even know how many other places it's automatically pushed out to as well. But the point is that now I'm taking content that I've already done and I'm repurposing it into a quick minute podcast, and then I'm pushing out to all these other platforms, which is starting to expand it. And then as I get that down, I've been doing that now for, I think this is the second month. I'm going on my third month. So after I do that for a little while, now I have all this extra content. I'll be able to take that and leverage it a little bit more. But do something, do it consistently, do it really well for a while, and I'll give you that time frame, 18 to 24 months, and you might be, oh my God, I can't wait that long to do that. It's like, well, can you actually do it for that long? Like, yes, I'm challenging you. Can you actually do it for that long? Because quite honestly, most coaches I run into, we're all gung-ho, we're starting off, but then what happens is, can you do something for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in a row? Most people can't do something for 4 weeks in a row. So can you do that for 18 to 24 months? That's a huge accomplishment if you can do that, just that in and of itself. And if that's all you did was something every week for 18 to 24 months and sent emails out around that, I guarantee you're going to have some organic marketing, organic flow, and some organic conversations created from that. And you're going to get some clients out of that. I know it because I've done it. I work with my clients on that. And I'm getting a little amped up right now because I am challenging you, because most people think, oh, I got to do all this stuff. And then they start and they get so overwhelmed. And next thing you know, the next week or the next month, it's like they haven't done anything in 3 weeks. So it's like, that's not what this business is about. Business is about consistency over time. It's not just about consistency. It's consistency over time. So now we understand that, and then we can expand from there. So now we've gone over where to start. We going on or offline? Well, that depends on how, where our audience we can find them. And once we determine that, that's going to dictate maybe what one social platform we can use. And like I said, choose that main social platform. You might need to use another social platform. Like, for instance, I've blasted Facebook, and that's been my primary social platform right out of the gates. Right out of the gates, I also used YouTube, because with my live calls that I was doing at the time, and now even my live shows, I was then taking those and I was putting them online and putting my website, like I say, sellingcoaching.com, under the university. So I'm putting them on YouTube, but I'm using YouTube. Yeah, it's a social platform. I'm using that just merely to host it for free, and then also put that onto my website on my university, right? So I'm using it, but my intention is, like, I'm not learning YouTube, and I'm not interacting on YouTube and looking at paid marketing and then what else I can do to grow my channel. If I get any organic stuff from YouTube, it's great. And interestingly enough, being on YouTube over the last, I think, call it 3 years or so, probably a little bit more than that, I'm actually closing in on 300 subscribers, and I don't know how many views, I don't know how many views I've gotten, but I've gotten to date, and I have to look at my final numbers, but I think it's like 7 clients directly from YouTube. And there's also been, dozens of more people that have come over. There's the people that subscribe, but then the people that have come over to my email community or my Facebook group that have said, how do you find me? And they said, oh, from YouTube. So I know those marketing efforts are working there, even if it's just posting it. So I'm not saying you can't use another social platform, but again, like I said, you just using it to host content or something like that, it can have its benefits, but don't use that so it's like, oh, I'm trying to learn and study that other platform as well. Focus on that one platform right there. That's my message to you. So it can work, especially if it's targeted. So now once we get to this point, now it's a matter of starting to understand, well, if I know who I'm marketing from there, is how do I actually get paid from this? And so in order to get paid from this and utilize a social platform, and another reason why I only want you to use one is because I want you to be consistent on it. So you can't just show up once a week and post something on social media. If you're really talking to people that are social marketing experts, and I'm not saying I'm not a social marketing expert, I'm saying the people that are utilizing it and really extracting business from it, we're going to tell you that you got to do something multiple times on a daily basis. Now, I'm removing myself from that right now, because I also know if I'm telling you here saying you got to do something on social media on your chosen platform 3 to 5 times a day, you're going to look at me or maybe you'll get ambitious and you'll be all motivated and excited and think you can do it. But the reality is you're definitely not going to be able to maintain that. And if you take that as a challenge and you do, great. You're 1 out of a million. You're 1 out of a very small percentage of people, right? So the reality is you're not going to be able to maintain that for a very long time, if even a week. Because it's overwhelming. Most people, and I say, hey, let's do one video, they're just like, oh my God, or send one email this week. They're like, oh my God, what am I going to say? And oh my God, what am I going to say next week? And they freak out about the content. So that's why I am removing myself from a social media guru, because a social media guru is going to tell you, a marketing expert on social media is going to tell you they're going to do something multiple times a day. And I know that's not a possibility, especially when you're starting off. Down the road, yes. Let's get you to that spot. I'm looking at a brand new coach that's coming out of the gates or wanting to get out of the gates or been struggling in and out of the gates for a while, right? If you've been doing it a while, let's get on social media a few times a week, right? And so that's where if you create some type of a structure like my structure that I help my mentoring clients with some type of a weekly event with some multiple emails or even just one email, you can get on social media a couple times a week at a bare minimum. Now that's not enough to really start gaining the momentum that you want, but what is it enough to do? It's enough for you to start building some confidence. It's enough for you to start, gaining some momentum in terms of starting to really understand what your message is. And if you don't know who you help with what specifically, it's going to start to help you articulate that and craft that so you can begin speaking your message more articulately, confidently, and get it out there, right? And then start getting some interaction, and then you gain some confidence. You can and will get clients from that if you understand it, which I'll go over in a second. But the point is, that's where the point of it in the beginning. And as you start to do that more and more, and as you get more and more of what I call a relevant audience, then you can start to expand and go from a couple days to 3 days to 4 days, etc. Like I said, I was doing something, I would say 4 times a week when I started off, and that was only due to the system that I created, my baseline structure that I help my mentoring clients with. And then only recently, until, like I said, I started that my daily podcast, etc. Now I'm out on all those platforms on a daily basis, at a minimum once on a daily basis. But I would say at least 4 or 5 times a week, multiple times. So I've gotten to that point. But I do the same thing. I had to work myself because I would get overwhelmed too. And at the time I had already been in business and successful for a good, 12 years or so doing this. But I also had to do the same process that I'm teaching you, is because I would overwhelm myself. I'm not immune from all that stuff. I just understand myself and how I work. That's how I roll with my clients. That's what I want to teach you here, is we can understand ourselves. I don't care how seasoned you are. You still need to do it in sections so you can stay consistent. That's my main thing, is you've got to stay consistent with this, because if you want this to be a business long-term that's going to help you earn income, not just 1 month and have a great month and then be barren for the next 6 months and then have another good month or a lukewarm month. And if you want somewhat of a consistent income each and every month, whatever it is, even if it's $500 a month, I'd rather have you make $500 a month than have a $6,000 month and be bankrupt for the rest of the year. Yeah, they might work out to the same numbers for the year, but the point is I'd still rather have you have the $500 a month, because you're going to feel more consistent and you can start to slowly build that base from there. So with that being said, now that we're out there, now we got to start to understand how we get paid from that. And that's very simple. Is the philosophy is you can't just sit back and be like, all right, here's what's going on. I put my stuff out there and no one's interacting with me. You got to set an expectation that no one's going to interact with you, because no one's going to interact with you, right? Less than 1% of the people are going to interact with you. So you, in a Facebook group of 100 people, and you put a post out there, I would expect 1 person or so roughly to make a comment, do a like or something like that. So when you're in groups, as an example, on Facebook, and you see someone posting something and there's hundreds of comments, well, odds are there might be 100,000 people in there, or there might be 10,000 or 50,000 people in there. But if you look at a post in a group of 50,000 people, right, and you have X amount of people in there, odds are, I bet you that percentage is going to work out to about 1%, right? So you got to start to get to an understanding. It's like, oh, well, I wish I had that. But it's percentage-wise, it's all the same thing. Now, yes, can groups have more engagement? Absolutely. But statistically, you've got to set your expectations straight. A lot of mentoring clients that I work with, it's like, oh, I'm doing my live events, and no one's showing up, or no one's interacting, no one's commenting, or I'm sending emails out and no one's saying anything. It's like, yeah, that's what happens. Like, that's the world of entrepreneurship. It doesn't mean it will never happen. And yes, as it grows, expect the same percentages as 1% or so engagement. But you've still got to keep doing that to hone the message and get the message out there consistently. But the point is from there, you've got to create the relevant conversations. Now, this is the stuff I start to teach with my one-on-one clients. I've got my graduate program, my live sales conversations group, livesalesconversations.com, if you want to check that out. And that's where I teach my clients how to convert their leads into paying clients. And that's a sales conversation. But what I'm going to say with you today is that you've got to create conversations with people. Like I said earlier, when every single person that comes into my private Facebook group, now it's tough if more people are coming in, but you don't have to worry about that. And if you're having more people come in on a daily basis that you can handle, that's when you start to get some help with it. But on a daily basis, even if 1 person's joining, can I reach out to that person and say, hey, I saw you join my private Facebook group, selling coaching. Great to have you. How'd you find out about me? What's your motivation for joining? and then interact a little bit more and then create a conversation and go from there. And that's digging. I like to call that digging. We've got to dig for business. Now, I'm not interacting with that person because I'm thinking, oh my God, I want this person to hire me. Would I like the business? Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? But the intention behind it is not, oh, I'm trying to get a client. The intention behind it is, oh, I want to make a connection to understand this person, to understand what marketing efforts are working, my number one, not necessarily in any order. Number two, who is this person? Why are they here? What are they passionate about? What are they going through? What are their challenges? And then at a minimum, great, you've made a connection with you. You create a relationship with them. And then at that point, if the need's there, if the timing or the urgency of that need's there, then yeah, maybe we do approach them. Maybe we say, hey, I can't help but ask you based on, you wanting this and it couldn't be, obviously you're looking for help and the timing couldn't be better. I can't help but ask if you'd ever consider working with me or hiring me as your mentor coach because I see what you're going through. And at that point, it's appropriate because you understand that person. You've developed trust in a relationship with that person. Even if you've only gone back and forth on Messenger or on email or whatever type of conversation for, whatever, 5 or 6 times or even a couple times, the point is if you open up an information, that's where it's appropriate because you found a need. But if you're just running right out of the gates or expecting people to, asking for business out of the gates without developing relationships and not understanding where they are or what they need, or just expecting people are going to pop out of the woodwork, it's not going to happen. You got to dig. And that's where the money is in the business is you got to dig. You got to have those conversations. You got to be patient and you've got to wait to understand those person's needs. If you're pushing it and you're going too fast, you're going to lose people. You're going to turn people off. You're going to be the exact type of person that you don't want to be, that pushy salesperson. This is the type of selling that I teach is just creating relationship. It's putting out that what I would call education-based marketing, just like this, doing it on a consistent basis, creating relationships, growing that audience, nurturing that audience. And some people will tell you that's too slow, that's BS. It's like, do paid ads and just convert them right into a presentation or into a funnel and then upsell them to a low price product or heck, forget the low price product, sell them right into a $5,000 product. And you know what? It can work. And I'm not saying that doesn't work, but the point is I'm saying for you is you're starting this off come up with a 45-minute presentation when you can't send a freaking email or you're so afraid to do a video. Okay, figure that out. All right, go spend, a minimum of $300 to $500 at least to get some traction on a Facebook ad when you don't even really know your audience or your messages, right? So what I'm saying is learn your message, speak your message, get it out there on a regular basis, start creating conversations, understand your audience, be consistent with it. And then in those conversations, as you dig, you're going to start to understand. Hopefully, you're going to start to understand where these people are coming from. And then if there's a need big enough, maybe someone will ask you, hey, tell me more about your coaching. And as you start to understand the art of selling and how to create those conversations, you will start to turn those into clients. Before I head off, I will just say one more thing for those people who are in that position where you're like, ugh, you're either pulling your hair out, or you need some structure, you need some help. I just had a new client yesterday that, they've been doing it for a couple of years now. And they're just like, oh my God, I'm earning, X amount of $1,000, a month right now, but I need to amp it up. We looked through their business and we identified some key areas that they weren't doing that were fundamental things. And now I'm helping them take their business to that next level to get to that, 5-figure monthly mark, etc. So whatever case you're at, I can help you structure your business. Consider working with me and hiring me as your mentor coach. It's something that I'm super passionate about, and I want to create a partnership and be a part of your business so we can build it from scratch day in and day out, month after month, and start to see how this is like. I want to create that partnership with you. So if you are challenged or you're frustrated or you're feeling good, but you need some of those pieces filled in and want to create that structure so you can be consistent, consider working with me. Go to sellingcoaching.com under the work with me page. Go to the bottom, fill that form out, fill it out. It's going to come to me. I will call you up, and yes, I will call you, and we will create a relaxed conversation and we can go from there.